Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. So we got Tesla's production and delivery numbers, and they were once again all-time highs. Tesla just made one of their biggest beats of Wall Street's estimates ever. Yes, Tesla's exponential growth story continue with no end in sight, and with no real competition in sight either. Yes, records were broken once again by Tesla that looks more and more like an unstoppable force. So let's check out all the numbers and let's dive right in. So we got Tesla's production and delivery numbers for Q2, and as expected, it was records all around. I was about as optimistic as Wall Street was pessimistic, as Tesla's delivered about 21,000 more than what Wall Street expected and about 17,000 less than what I expected. So I was off by 3.5%, so at least I was closer than Wall Street. But my biggest flaw was no doubt my optimism about Tesla's continuous ramp of their factories. So I've now tried to tone that one bit down and align my prediction model with the actual numbers we have got so far and see if we can get a little closer for next quarter. But no matter what, Tesla beat Wall Street's estimate, and I do think this is the biggest beat we have seen for a very long time, if not ever. So the growth story just continues. Tesla did have a lockdown in Shanghai last year in Q2, so the growth of Q2 this year will look even better than what it would have been if we had no lockdown last year. But Tesla just delivered 83.5% more cars than Q2 2022, and production was up about 86%. So some very strong numbers no matter what. About 466,000 units delivered and about 480,000 units in production. So only about 3% between production and deliveries. So that is still very good and some of the best in the industry. And we could also see that Tesla delivered twice as many Model S and X than last quarter, as we talked about back then, because Tesla did have a lot of them in transit, as they only produced them in the Fremont factory. But really nice to see Tesla is ramping up very fast, even though it was not as fast as I thought it would be. But Tesla's growth is in line with what they have been guiding for since 2020. And if we look back 6 years, as Forward Cap here showed on Twitter, we can see Tesla's quarterly numbers here in Q2 were 10 times bigger than just 6 years ago. 10 times! That's insane. Or we could say Tesla's sales numbers in Q2 was about 27% higher than the entire year of 2019. And do you remember when some analysts back in 2019 said that Tesla's demand had peaked? Boy, did those comments age poorly. So the whole demand problem talk is not something new. The so-called analysts and Tesla's bears have been screaming about this for almost a decade. How can people look at a chart like this from James and see the actual numbers for Q2 trailing 12 months all the way back to 2013 and say, yeah, look, they're slowing down or going down even? It's ridiculous. They are not looking at the numbers. But Lars, the competition. Yes, let's just take a look at the competition. Here are some of the competition on Alex's nice little chart here. Does it look like any of the German brands are catching up? Are Audi catching up with 7-mile boots, as they said in 2020? No, they have been left in the dust, and Tesla's sale has not slowed down, even though all of these automakers are starting to ramp up EV production. So Tesla just continues to grow at an insane pace. Remember all the talk there was about how absurd it was for Tesla to think they could ever get to 500,000 cars produced in a year, as Elon Musk said they were aiming for 2020 back in 2014. And now Tesla is almost producing that in a single quarter. So not only did Tesla prove them wrong about 500,000 a year, but they are now making them look like fools by getting close to 500,000 a quarter. But Tesla will also no doubt beat the yearly target of 1.8 million cars. As of now, Tesla has delivered about 889,000 units in 2023. So if Tesla should only hit 1.8 million, they need to slow down its production and only deliver about 455,000 units in Q3 and Q4. And with two factories still ramping up with the best-selling car in the world, I think that is highly unlikely. Tesla will of course have some slowdown because of the refreshed Model 3 they will be starting production of, and also the Cybertruck that will be coming. But it will of course not slow down all of the Model 3 production lines, so we will have to wait and see how much of an impact it will have on the overall production numbers. But at the same time, we do have the Model Y ramping up in both Berlin and Texas, so that should compensate of some of the drag the ramp up of the refreshed Model 3 will have. But even though starting a new production of the Cybertruck could have a drag on production, it will of course also add a little bit to the mix by the end of this year. And Tesla's growth become even more impressive when we consider all the trouble we see in China and the interest rates going up. Just look at this chart with auto loans rates. We can see just how they have skyrocketed over the last year, and we have a recession lurking as well. And of course, all the competition that apparently is coming for Tesla. It just makes Tesla's achievement so much more impressive. And Tesla is no doubt keeping the title of the biggest EV maker on the planet, as their biggest rival, of course, is BYD, and they did in Q2 deliver 352,163 BEVs globally. And in the first half of 2023, BYD has delivered 616,810 BEVs against Tesla's 889,000. So Tesla is still about 45% bigger than BYD. Just if you see some headlines about BYD selling 1.2 million electric vehicles, that does include hybrids. We will, of course, be looking at all the other OEMs like Ford, GM, Volkswagen and so on as more of them come out with their numbers, but we have to wait a little bit longer for their numbers. But they will only be a little speck compared to Tesla's numbers, so BYD is really the only one that is close to Tesla. But Tesla is still the one leading, as BYD is still only big in China and still have to prove that they can become a big global player. And here in Europe, their BYD Han is priced way too high, so that will not help BYD make a lot of sales here in Europe whatsoever, as we can also see. So far this year, the Han has only sold about 143 units. For comparison, the Model Y is closing in on 100,000 units, so that model is about 800 times more successful here in Europe than the BYD. So let's see if BYD can continue its insane growth they have had in the last couple of years, as 95% of that growth comes from China. But even with BYD and all the competition in general, Tesla is not slowing down their growth. They are still on target to grow with more than the 50% compound annual growth rate from their 2020 numbers. Very, very impressive. So we should also see some very good earnings from Tesla, as the cost of production of the Model Y in both Berlin and Texas should have come down quite a bit since Q1. And we have also twice as many X and X's sold, which still adds to the average selling price and is sold with a much higher gross margin. And cost in general should also come down both in materials, batteries, and the effect of more localized production, as all of the 60 or 70,000 units that Berlin is producing in Q2 will get to its destination in Europe within a couple of days instead of 2 months from China. That is a big cost saving for Tesla. So we should probably see Tesla being around the 20% gross margin on their automotive business again this quarter. And then it will be very exciting to see how much their energy business has grown, how much momentum the Lathrop factory has got. So we should see some very good earnings from Tesla, but we have to wait until the 19th of July to get those numbers. But what a beat from Tesla. Wonder what Gordon Johnson has to say about this as Tesla continues to grow, and Gordon continues for the 10th year in a row to tell us all how Tesla will be going down in sales. Well, we are still waiting to see the effect from all that competition he has been talking about. But I'll bet he will say something like growing inventory. They are producing more than they're selling. Yes, there will be more cars in inventory the bigger Tesla gets, but Tesla is still leading when it comes to how long time Tesla's cars are waiting in inventory. Only 15 days. So there is of course a delay from when the car is made till it end up in customers' hands. But Tesla just delivered more cars this quarter than they produced the last quarter. And I will bet you that Tesla will deliver more next quarter than they produced this quarter. So to say there is an inventory problem when Tesla continues to grow in deliveries is just plain stupid. Because as you can see on this chart here from James as well, the cumulative sales from Tesla through the years, it doesn't look like a company in trouble, does it? How anyone can bet against this is above my understanding. And remember, when we are looking backwards, Tesla has grown at an insane rate and has truly become a big boy in the industry, as they are now bigger than Audi. But remember, Tesla has just begun. Tesla's growth is still exponential.
And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.